Good morning and welcome to Supervised Experience. So, when people start the program, I want to be a counselor. This class is really what I would say people have in mind. They don't really have strategies and techniques in mind where you get broken down and my gosh, you have a whole new way of communicating. Try not to ask questions, reflect, summarize, micro skills. That is not what people typically have in mind when they enter the program and want to be a counselor. And so, congratulations on making it this far because this is really where people start to integrate skills, techniques, more advanced theory into their practice. And this is a gradual process, just like strategies was. The biggest part of learning in this class will occur on our weekends. And I want to talk to people about those dates, and we'll talk about the necessity of being here, um, talk about expectations for the course. First off, I want to say I'm super excited to work with you all. We have a smaller group. This is the smallest class I've had since I've been at Northwestern. So there are 8 of you. Typically, I have 16 or so, sometimes even more. And the good news about that is that you have my undivided attention. Typically, when we have the strategies or supervised classes, I've been more of an IT manager in that I've been running around, hooking up Zoom meetings, looking at classrooms, trying to facilitate the class. And students receive feedback from the SFA students, from the Stephen F. Austin students. In this situation, and now you're like, oh crap, Dr. Randolph looks, he's gonna watch me. Um, it's a good thing. I've missed being able to really focus in on development, feeling like my time's really crunched. And a lot of times when I've given you feedback in the past, it's been a snippet. I've seen maybe 10 minutes of a 20-minute session or something like that to where I'm not fully aware of what you've done. So I'm super excited about this. And I want to go in and just start talking about the class. So welcome. You've made it to the big show. You've made it here. So congratulations. Pat yourself on the back. Now is when you really start to learn more advanced theory. I would say my goals for you, this is an important statement. My goals for you are to begin to integrate a theory of your choice. And you say, begin, my gosh, I need to know, I got people coming up in practicum, I need to know to be able to help people. You're not going to be proficient. It takes time. We practice counseling, like a doctor practices medicine. You continually practice to get better. And it will be a continual growth process. And I want it to be throughout your careers. The main emphasis early on is going to be reintegrating those micro skills. You don't drop those. You never drop those from strategies and techniques. You will carry those forward in every session that you have from here forward, either in the program or out of the program. Those are necessary. And so our first real work in the class will be to reintegrate those from last semester. It's been a while. It's been since spring, or maybe even longer, since you've really worked on those micro skills. So it's going to be a chance early on for you to reintegrate those and then step toward a bigger theory, possibly a more advanced approach. So let's go ahead and jump in and look at the class. And here it is. So supervised, let's go ahead and look at the home page. I'll blow this up. Whoa, that is huge. That's fine though. Okay. So here's your home page. I'm gonna make that a little smaller for me. I'm having trouble with that. But big enough y'all can see it. Let's just look around at the tabs here first before I forget. You have your syllabus. Do not pass go, focus in right now. Weekly course modules. it is imperative that you check these because, let me show you something. This is what it will look like after you get through the end of the semester. These are set to deploy each week. I'm not trying to overwhelm you each week with a bunch of information. So this is module 1, this is week 1. You click on this, this is your weekly responsibility to come in here, check in what's available in the modules. I am going to I don't like the way that's displayed, but it is. It just is. I'm going to release video. This will be the video under this. So weekly course modules will appear here. Please click on each one of these. It appears Blackboard is a little different this semester. So please make sure you click on all of these things here. Because only one of you has done an introduction. Rima, thank you. So please be sure you click on all of these right here on the left menu. So weekly course modules. You are going to be responsible for recording yourself, like on Zoom or like with a camera or the phone, and uploading your video and creating a transcript. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. But those are going to be, and here's a video recording assignment. Here is a helpful video. But here's where you're going to coordinate who you're going to partner with. Nobody's done that yet. That's okay. When you come to live classes, just like last time, you're going to get a feedback form. This is the really formal one that Lee used at SFA. I tend to use one a little shorter, and I'll upload that a little bit later. But here's how to give feedback. It's very similar to strategies. We'll have a midterm exam. And I don't want that released yet, but that's okay. And that's about it, gang. But that's not all. I will be honest with you. This is going to be a time-intensive course because there's a lot for you to accomplish. This is your last practice course before you go work with real clients, before you're with practicum. And so we're going to practice a lot. You're going to have a lot of time sitting in the counselor chair, practicing, thinking about, reflecting on what it is that you're doing, what it is that you're trying to do. Here's another reminder, check back under weekly course modules. That's where the information for this class is going to be found. Here's your syllabus. Let's go through the syllabus. This is the most important thing. Let's lock in, go through this. They're my office hours. We will meet on weekends. There's one Sunday. It says Saturdays. There's one Sunday that we'll look at. These textbooks are required of you. You should still have this from your strategies class. This is the primary textbook we're going to focus in on this class, which is 45 techniques. You can't pass the class without this textbook. You got to have it. Another reading would be the ACA Code of Ethics. All right. I'm going to scroll down. You can read through this. I would encourage you to read through it. But people want to know, what do I have to do to pass the class? Here's what we're going to do. You'll have 2 exams. You can see over here you have a midterm. I haven't released the final yet, but you'll have a midterm and a final. You'll have 2 case studies. These will be helping you integrate your theory. And so you'll get a vignette, and you'll get a practice where you have a case conceptualization, where here's a situation with a person. What are you going to do? What's your plan to counsel this person? Helping you think about, okay, this is what I'm actually going to try to accomplish in a session. Integrating micro skills, integrating a more advanced technique, thinking about the person's problem. How can I address that person's problem? If you're on the addiction track, I want to know, because I want to formulate a different case for the folks that are in the addiction track. You will also have experiential learning counseling activities in the live class. And so we'll meet 3 different days on weekends, one in September, one in October, and one in November. We'll talk about those dates in a minute. You'll only have 6 discussion board activities, so don't miss them. They're worth more. They're weighted more. If you miss one, it's a significant portion of your grade. Pay attention to this class. Pay attention to the format. This is new. You will video record yourself. You will take a video, whether Zoom, whether it be live, using your phone camera. You're going to practice with another student. You're going to have to produce a transcript of the session, portion of the session, and then self-reflect. That, to me, this last part is the biggest portion of the assignment. Yeah, you're going to practice. Yeah, you're going to make mistakes. Yeah, it's going to be like nails on a chalkboard because you're watching yourself in a video. But you're also going to reflect on that and tell me what you were thinking in the session when you were doing something. And you're going to say, hey, did I do it well? Did I not do it well? Was I in my head? Go into some depth. You'll need to be specific here. I'll produce another video. It's really important to add more. Don't be too. It's hard to be too expansive. In other words, it's easy to be too brief on this. When people don't score well in these videos, it's because they don't go into enough depth reflecting on what they're doing and what they need to improve on. We'll talk more about that in a minute. You can see the course objectives. So here we go. Students will be required to complete 2 online discussion board assignments. We talked about 6 of those. Probably be more. I would encourage you to engage in the activities. There'll be some activities too on the discussions, the weekly activities. You'll have some, the reflections, 3 reflections of sessions, and 2 essay exams. So you'll also be able to participate in that experiential counseling exercises live. Do not pass go. You have to be here for all 3 all-day sessions. If you can't pass this class. It's necessary. This is one of the few opportunities where you are working live with other people before you go practice with students. So it is necessary for you to pass the class. You'll be evaluated on how you do. And so establish rapport, maintain structure, your nonverbal communication, your adherence to a model or technique or a theory. This component will comprise a significant proportion of the grade. Again, here's highlighted. Students must arrange to participate in person during all live classes, as these are necessary to gain credit, no exceptions. If you have trouble paying attention, if you're on your phone, if you are not in the session, you're distracted, you're somewhere else, you leave, you're not gonna, for some reason, sometimes things come up, sometimes they're unavoidable. If there's an emergency, I'll work with you, but this I can't stress enough. You have to be here to get the credit. And so here's a rubric. I would encourage you to read through the rubric. Here's the video recordings. I want to spend, so if you could spend some extra time, maybe watch this again, this portion of it. This is very important. Because to me, this is you watching yourself. This is not just in a fishbowl where you're in front of the class where you're working with other students. This is you watching yourself in a video, which is painful. Oh my gosh. I mean, not for me watching you, but for me, I mean, thinking about myself, when I did these things. It is painful to watch yourself because like, oh, why'd I do that? Oh, I look nervous. Oh, what's wrong? Well, I can't say my voice. Try to get past all that, please. Know everybody's doing it. And if you can, a bigger portion would be to forget about if you're recording and just be present with your client. I really want to see you just being present with your client. Remember strategies where it's so important to be congruent, to be in the here and now, in the present moment, because that's when you're expressing empathy. That's when you're showing the client that you're really interested. You're not caught in your head thinking about other things. I want to see you get there. The sessions, this is important because you won't get full credit. Each session must be a minimum of 20 points, or excuse me, must be a minimum of 20 minutes, but can be longer. If you have an 18-minute session, you're going to get a C or lower because you're not meeting there. This is the minimum requirement. So to get a B or higher, you're going to at least have to have 20 minutes of session here. It's your responsibility to find someone to have a video with. I'm going to release a discussion board. We can use other students here. You're not allowed to use spouses, partners, children, close relatives, or friends. I don't want you to use friends in the program. I want you to reach out and use somebody that you're not familiar with. Once the session is complete, you have to pick 5 to 7 minutes of the session, transcribe it verbatim, and this is what it looks like down here. Counselor, thank you for coming into your session today. Seems like you're upset. Client, today has been terrible and well, awful. Client mumbles, crying begins. I had a car accident this morning. Now my husband is being very angry. Counselor, you had a car wreck. Reflection of content. See what happened there? That person showed what they were doing. That is absolutely necessary for you to use this level of detail on every sentence. I want to have some things in parentheses. I want to have like the bigger context. I want to know what's going on for you. I want to know if you feel good about what you did. If you don't, what's going on internally for you? Like what happened? There's an open-ended question needed to encourage deeper disclosure. Really go into some depth and detail. If you don't, you're not gonna get a B in a minimum. I mean, this is the minimum requirement. What I'm talking about. I am fine, but my car is total, and so whatever, that's really short, but it's very necessary to go into that level of detail. And so please read through this. The transcriptions, the self-reflection, and then after you get done, you'll reflect on the whole as a session as a whole. It's not just completing this transcription. It's okay, well, I need to improve on this. At minute 15, I did this and I felt like it was cringeworthy. I really felt awesome about my closing. At 20 minutes, I used a really powerful summary. I was able to recall everything that the student talked about or my client talked about in the class. You'll also be appraised on professional disposition. If you're not open to feedback, why are you here? If you're not looking to improve, if you're gonna argue with the feedback that you're given. Now I understand about explaining yourself, but if you're obstinate and not open, then why are you here? That's not. And also, please know there are other elements of professional disposition. If you just show a complete inability to counsel, that's a tough discussion. That's a tough discussion for me. But and don't worry about nerves. Okay, nerves isn't it. In nerves, everybody has nerves. I don't really consider nerves as a product of disposition. But please read through this. This is something that we're gonna discuss. I'm gonna have to pause this video here because I don't want to go too long. But let's go through the points, and I'll come back about the Saturday or the weekends. So here's your points. This is actually 6 discussion board. Yeah, I only have 3. I need to update this. So plan on 6 discussion board activities, being worth 20 points each, which would bring that total to 120. You have 3 videos, transcriptions, reflections. They're worth 50 points each. 2 exams worth 50 points each. Professional disposition, it's either a pass, fail. Your participation on the weekend, being present, not being on your phone, paying attention, giving feedback. That's important. Participating as a client, and then you working, trying hard as a counselor. So this will actually be add 60 points to that, 670 points. I'll try to modify that. I've got an AI statement in there, which I don't know. I guess you could use AI, but come back to it. Let me stop there. That's a lot. There's a lot to digest in that. Gang, I look for, like I said before, I look forward to working with you. I think this is going to be a fun class. This is, again, what people look forward to when they come in the program. People want to do this. People want to be counselors, and this is kind of what they think of when it's like, okay, well, I'm trying to counsel. So I'll send back, I'll touch base with another video, but pay attention on our board. I'll see you soon.